What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. For me it has been many months since I have been away when it comes to talking about this band. Ever since the aftermath of Slipknot deciding for themselves to permanently fire their longtime drummer Weinberg after 10 years of him being with the band, I didn't want to be involved in a lot of the toxicity, and more importantly, I don't want to be involved with the fan base who's been absolutely at a downward spiral. But what I thought I'd do is to address what could maybe be or maybe not the truth as to why Slipknot did fire Jay. Before I dive into it, do not take this way too seriously, because when it comes to being an online person, seeing different comments and different opinions around this whole thing, obviously it's going to be old news in the future. But even if it's just words online through social media on the internet, there's still a lot of talk about it, and not many Slipknot fans would address it in a completely different aspect, not in a different change of behavior at all. The reason why I'm deciding to do this video is I've watched a video from a YouTuber called Matthew Sparks. He has been an inspiration for me to do this video. He addressed his own opinions, why he thinks Jay was fired from Slipknot in a different way. It angered many fans worldwide. But after watching Matthew's video, it changed my original reaction for the better, just to give me a better mindset to think about things even deeper and look into what was going on. Whether it was going to be something that could be accurate or not, take it with a pinch of salt, because not everything is completely truthful on the internet. I do recommend that you should check out Matthew's video. It's not going to be a Slipknot YouTube channel, but he has done an amazing video not only on Jay Weinberg, but on Joey Jordison as well. I suggest you should watch those two videos. Jay had been Slipknot's longtime drummer, replacing the original late great drummer Joey Jordison. After Jay's time with the band came to an end, there's still a lot of people talking about him in a positive matter, but unfortunately, loads of the fans have been attacking the band in many different comments. People don't see the band the same way anymore after that. 2014's Point 5 The Great chapter, 2019's We Are Not Your Kind, and the band's final album with Roadrunner Records, and obviously with Craig 133 Jones before he left the band, of 2022's The End So Far. I want to say the positives on Jay as a whole. Jay has been an amazing drummer, and I thought to see him play with Slipknot has been a brilliant sound. He had his own technique, his precision, and his own incredible skills. I do give Jay a lot of the praise here. And in interviews, he does genuinely seem like a really cool, open-minded, nice guy, which I always will give him a lot of respect for. He has been the new drummer for Suicidal Tendencies, and I will wish him the very best. I was very grateful enough to see Slipknot 3 times. The first time it was with the classic lineup of the band in 2008. The next two are shows at the time when Jay used to be with the band. The first one was 2015 for the Prepare for Hell tour at the time. By the way, when Chris, one of the band's percussionists, used to be in the band. And 2020 on the We Are Not Your Kind era tour. Behemoth supported the band, and in my opinion, that was Slipknot at their absolute peak. It was just incredible. From the sound of the band, the sound quality, the stage presence, the whole vibe, the adrenaline, everything from that show was phenomenal. It was one of the greatest concert experiences of my life, and I still give Slipknot a lot of the adoring love for that concert. After the acrimonious split from Slipknot, Jay obviously moved forward to do other things. And now that there has been a lot of very active talks on who is going to be the Slipknot drummer, many people, involving myself, had been speculating that it's probably going to be the former Sepultura drummer, Eloy Casagrande. It would not surprise me if it's going to be him, because there's so many people talking about him, and with the recent posts, especially with the smashed up drumstick, a Pro Mark drumstick, to which Pro Mark did have Eloy Casagrande as one of the signature artists with that drumstick company. I think it's going to be a really, really good combination. But anyways, after Jay's time with Slipknot, a lot of people have been desperate or sometimes not bothered whatsoever to find out what was going on. There's one point, however, that I am going to say right now. I'm going to put my hand straight up and express a big mistake that I had made and want to apologize. I used to do a video when the hospital news on Jay Weinberg's surgery happened. I decided to make the video and make a complete guess. After looking back at it and thought about it even further, in the end I decided to put that video on private, because what I didn't realize is the hospital had nothing to do with Jay's sacking. And even Jay did address that the surgery of his hip and femur had been in the making, in the planning since 3 years. So when Jay was fired, my guess was that Jay has been out of Slipknot on the phone whilst he was in hospital. And obviously some fans will be thinking that it's about the financing, money, stuff going around. Even Corey Taylor admitted in interviews, he did say he thinks the band are not making enough money, which is obviously in a different story. But the misinformation was just a big embarrassing moment for me, and I do apologise from that mistake. When I listen to Slipknot, whether it's through the classic lineup or the later era when Jay used to be with the band, to me it is still the band being the band. And I still define that We Are Not Your Kind was Slipknot's strongest album in a really long time. And I'm very grateful to see this album go up to #1 in the UK, because there's so many strong stuff on this album. And one of the things is not only the bigger variety and different studio techniques and sounds of the music, Jay's drumming was one of the best things about it. The album was super tight, super awesome through the delivery, the chemistry. It felt like the band was inspired enough to work together. And I do defend my opinion that We Are Not Your Kind is still the strongest album in their discography since either Iowa or Volume 3. Before Jay became Slipknot's drummer full-time, he worked with previous bands, and these two are going to be involved for this video. The breakdown hardcore style band, Madball, and the punk style rock band, Against Me. Obviously, two different bands, different musicians, different talents, and from the moment Jay was out from these two separate bands, it led to a completely consistent floor. It's nothing to do with the talent, it's nothing to do with the skills, it's nothing to do with the music, it's on something else. When you are in a band working with musicians, for the style of music to being a professional musician, one of the most important things is to show who you are in personality. Just to be involved with different people and getting to one and another and to stick together. But Jay was out of these two bands with a really noticeable way. And that is a notorious flack of a personality clash. Madball decided to fire Jay while they were on tour in Canada in 2010. Freddie, the band's vocalist, said this: "I'm letting Jay go in Canada because I just feel he doesn't represent this band well on a character level. It would go against my own code of ethics to keep him around. Not saying he's a bad drummer. I won't take that away from him. But the reality is, he has a lot to learn about paying dues and about life in general. Granted, he is a kid, but I'm not sure that he'll ever be built for this particular lifestyle. I wish him the best of luck, but the Madball machine rolls on." Jay was thinking differently. He said he did quit. He wasn't fired. I agree that Madball will be better served by an individual more attuned to their particular lifestyle, and occasionally a new band member will grind gears with longtime members over non-musical issues. To each his own. But let me be clear, while I really enjoyed playing the music, I do not subscribe to their choice of habits and lifestyle. This past August, while on tour in Europe, disturbing events within the band indicated to me that it was time for me to move on. Now we go over to Against Me. The band's frontwoman, Laura Jane Grace, expressed her difficulty from her experience when Jay used to be with the band. In 2010, Jay had become the new drummer for Against Me, but it only lasted for 2 years. In 2012, he decided publicly on Twitter to say that he was going to quit and leave the band. The band's member, Laura Jane Grace, said this: "I just woke up one morning and read on Twitter that he was leaving the band. From the time Jay was involved with Slipknot, she tweeted, 'Dear Slipknot, good luck with that hashtag #bag.'" She did continue to make personal tweets about her experiences. "We once had a drummer who sprained his ankle and wanted our tour manager to call 911 and have an ambulance come for him. #entitlement. When our tour manager said no, the drummer's daddy called him and scolded him, saying the drummer was a star and needed to be treated as such. We once had a drummer who would go behind our back and tell house light people to focus all stage lights on him. #entitlement. We once had a drummer who threatened to sue us after he quit via Twitter. #entitlement. We once had a drummer who told me to move aside on stage because the audience couldn't see him enough. #entitlement. These differences from Madball and Against Me was incredibly surprising to look at what they've been saying. I was surprised myself. Now we go over to another social media platform, Reddit. You don't know and I don't know what is the actual proof. And you may think to yourself, this is truthful and completely accurate. I'm in the middle because maybe it could have been true, but at the same time, I don't really think that this would be intensely the definitive way. By the way, I've not created a Reddit account because I didn't want to jump in the bandwagon at that time, and with different behaviors of Reddit users, it has been notorious, and it's obviously not just with Reddit, but I thought for this section of the story, I would like to share with you what they've been saying, but on text instead of screenshots. Even though the comments have been made publicly on the Slipknot subreddit page, it's better for me not to reveal the account names. If you want to see what they've been saying on the Slipknot subreddit, just go look it up for yourselves. Jay's supposed drum tech talking badly about him on Loudwire's Instagram post. Bro literally carried the effing band. I can tell you that is very not true. He struggled very hard live. They had to trigger his kick drums because his double bass playing is terrible. His meter is also very bad. Always rushing. They should have did this years ago. The commenter responded, I don't believe that. I've seen him live and I've seen him post his videos on YouTube. The guy's a beast. The next comment from Yeti responding to him says this, I was his tech. I'm the one who had to put the triggers on his kit. Funny how someone always thinks they know facts from the crowd. His videos he posts are so doctored up. There's more different posts around this same situation, and a lot of the information has been addressed from an active Reddit user, and he claims that he was there with the experience of being with the Slipknot entourage. Now, I know that that may not be true to you, it may not be full proof of what he's been saying, but if it isn't, that is totally fine. I still think it is incredibly fascinating to read what he wanted to say. He has been very active and been responding to a lot of different people's comments with opinions, of course, but since a lot of people were saying lots of the same involving things around why Slipknot did what they did to fire Jay, the active Reddit user has been so consistent to look into other people's comments and respond to these people with different information. Instead of copying every single piece of information from the Reddit user word for word to be used for this video, I thought I would decide to shorten the sentences, and he also addressed if you don't believe what he has been saying to the people from the website, then he wouldn't feel offended. But he revealed a lot of things. He confirms Yeti was the person who worked with Jay as the drum tech during the We Are Not Your Kind tours, experienced the problems that were going on during different gigs, timing issues and the speed issues of playing the songs too fast, and the other band members were complaining about it after the gigs. Complimenting Jay as a drummer, and he worked hard along with the band, but the chemistry was another flaw, and Jay was called a nepo baby. Obviously, Jay Weinberg is related to Max Weinberg, Max being the father, another really great drummer who plays with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. There's more comments about the whole band or Clown and Corey firing Jay part. Corey and Clown are not the only people who make the decisions on anything, because the entire band would be involved with them. There were some off-stage behavior issues that went on as well. The band didn't want to fire him, but the reactions from the fans were still negative. Behavior issues from different things, like mental, physical, etc., and Jay's actions were affecting the band. One of the other articles was around the time when Laura Jane Grace from, as I've mentioned, Against Me, slammed Jay Weinberg when Jay was a rumour if he was going to be Slipknot's new drummer or not. The active Reddit user did say that it was basically the whole reason why Slipknot decided to not work with him anymore and gave Jay the boot in the end. A commenter responded to his and saying maybe Jay got the job because of his father and his connection with the music industry. Also personally addresses his own mistake that he used to attack the band without any evidence. The band didn't want to address everything after a band member is let go. Behavior-related issues of addiction and attitudes were the reasons. Jay did get the job because of being a drummer and for being related to his father. The band did try to audition another drummer to be Joey's replacement at the time before Jay got it. Remember, the user did address the chemistry side of things, involving Jay's drumming from the habits of speeding up the songs, the timing. it would have been so difficult for the rest of the band personally. Jay's die was cast. It has been a really struggling, straining experience. I've actually been watching Slipknot's performance from an earlier concert a few months prior to Jay's firing, when they've done a performance at the Resurrection show on the 30th of June 2023. Jay's drumming, unfortunately, was not at his best. Sometimes when I listened to the band play the earlier, older Slipknot songs, I was specifically listening to Jay's drumming, and I was completely shocked. No wonder I was so lucky to see Jay with Slipknot live twice when his drumming was fantastic. But hearing Jay making a lot of these mistakes, I think it was actually maybe the truth. I'm not saying that's like the definitive answer, but if you listen to Jay's drumming through previous concerts, like 2021 or 2022, maybe listen to those, listen to Jay's drumming from that Resurrection show. It's no wonder Slipknot did think that his time with the band was numbered. I'm going to make a completely random guess, and like I said, don't take it so seriously. The last Slipknot concert with Jay involved was the 3rd of November, 2 days prior to Jay's firing. My guess is this: after their performance at the Hell in Heaven show in Mexico, maybe there was some kind of altercation between the band and Jay, either with fisticuffs or words, or another guess would be, after the band left the stage, besides that he was going to go to hospital for his hip and femur surgeries, the rest of the band possibly would have been talking about firing Jay without Jay being involved and knowing about it. The more I thought about these two words from Slipknot's deleted statement, creative decision, in my opinion, Jay had been another very difficult musician to work with because of these two problematic clashes. It was through a personal straining relationship between him and the rest of Slipknot. Slipknot did think about letting him go to focus in a productive, better mindset of potentially writing new material and to be with another drummer so that they do want to keep Slipknot going without more of these same ongoing issues from what has been addressed earlier in the video. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Just like when Joey was fired from Slipknot for different yet highly personal, difficult, traumatic circumstances. The last part on the Reddit posts is basically a follow-up to what was going on from Stacey Thompson's active responses to any of the people's responses from the whole toxicity. A lot of the fans have been disgustingly insulting, misogynistic, and really bad people, addressing their hate publicly at Stacey Thompson, the wife of Mick Thompson, one of Slipknot's guitarists. I do feel really sorry for her because it's no wonder she would have just been completely ignoring what these people have been saying to her, and she just decided, fuck it, I'm going to respond to these types of people. Stacey was inside the same touring bus with Jay and the band, but the behaviour was difficult while being involved. The rumours were true from Jay's problematic timing while playing live. She was there with the band through the tours and studio sessions. Before I completely wrap everything up in this video, we are in a world when there's so many negative mindsets. As a really long Slipknot fanatic for nearly 20 years, And I can't believe it's nearly 20. But, in all seriousness, the band has been a band for nearly 30 years. And with anybody who thought it was a completely good idea to escalate in the enraged and mind-boggling negative reaction over a band politics side of any band's choice involving Slipknot's has been completely unacceptable. It is disgusting for me to be a lifetime fan of my favourite band who's involved as one of the fans to see different people's reactions. Everyone is a human being. Slipknot are human beings. We do not need to escalate this amount of attention-seeking behaviour. Not addressing your bashful, violent, and heavy words to the band in a personal way with this amount of expression. How dare you, when you think to yourself, this is a good idea, I have nothing better to do, when it's a lot of time that you assholes have been wasting, you're not going to get them back. It's not on all of the fans. I'm speaking my mind about what has been said from the fans who have just been so bad in the way they've been speaking about this whole thing. Band politics is not affecting you. It's not affecting me. It's involving the affection of the band themselves. And I know, well, we know that Jay, as quoted, he was feeling blindsided and heartbroken when he was no longer in Slipknot. But it had to be done for the band. Slipknot is on the whole band. Corey and Clown are not the bad people. They don't make the decisions. If something has to be planned, the entire 9-piece will be involved. I'm a full-time musician. I am in a band myself. But if there's a problem, that has to be sorted out, instead of keeping the negatives going without any hesitation. I've been through my experiences of working with different musicians, different lineup changes, and these moments do come out. You cannot expect Slipknot to do everything that is right for you. This is the kind of thing that Slipknot as a band has been doing for a long time. The band went through a lot. They went through different changes from the trauma, the loss of musicians, addictions, to abuse. It's just insane to me. Even when the moment that Slipknot's fans attack different drummers previously, saying they're not Joey or they're not Jay, who's going to replace Jay? It's completely moronic. I have nothing but a lack of respect for these types of people who have been so ungrateful. You should be grateful for Slipknot to be around for nearly 3 decades in a row. Can you really think about that? Classic rock and metal bands who are very iconic have been around for longer than that. And in the future, maybe Slipknot could last maybe another 10 years or 5, but who knows when Slipknot's going to be lasting. You cannot read their minds, and they cannot read yours. When it comes to the backlash they've been receiving for way too long, it would not surprise me if this amount of outrage did clearly affect Corey Taylor's mental health very personally. It could be other things as to why his mental health has been worse recently. No wonder he had to cancel his upcoming solo tours because he wanted to focus on himself. And not all of the fans have been thinking about things like this. If you are in a band, if you've been receiving negative comments from anyone, you know it's going to affect the band personally, and it could have been leading into something severely worse. I am still at a loss for words when it was such an active way of expressing things without thinking straight. When Slipknot fired Jay, I couldn't believe it. I didn't think straight. I was completely shocked. But did I think it was acceptable to be targeting the band, Stacey Thompson, and other drummers? Absolutely not. No way. This whole negativity to the band and everyone involved in the Slipknot camp needs to be put to rest. 10 years after the whole rant from Laura Jane Grace, she came back and described Jay's firing from Slipknot as, if true, poetic justice. Max Weinberg, Jay's father, called him a class act, which is completely heartwarming because you could clearly see that his own son is out from one of the biggest bands in the world, but he still celebrates him for being not only the son, but as a well-regarded, heavily awarding, brilliant drummer. That is just a beautiful thing. With that being said, that is it. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. And maybe this whole experience has been changing your minds from your previous original reaction to whatever mood you were in right now. Just like with me, I did not expect to see a completely different spotlight or just a change of reaction when diving into this whole thing in the first place. But whether it's accurate or not, I'm looking forward to see your comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.